Welcome to the I Can Do That podcast. I'm Jem Fadling, spiritual formation coach, author, and founding partner of Unhurried Living. With 30 years experience in spiritual formation, I help people grow by combining grounded optimism with practical spirituality. This effective dynamic will guide you onto the path of discernment so that you can transform your hopes into habits. Each episode, I'll share one practical idea with one simple takeaway. Together, we'll grow at the pace of transformation, and you'll move into your day saying to yourself, I can do that. I'm so glad you've joined me here. I really encourage you to go back and listen to the trailer and the first 3 episodes. They lay the foundation for what we're doing, and I think you'll find them very helpful as we begin our journey together. Now let's dig in. Today we are talking about love. Now I realize it's pretty audacious to think I can discuss this subject in a 10-minute podcast, but let me assure you I am in no way covering the depths of God's love or what it means to give and receive love in its entirety. I am simply just layering another part of our foundation here. I'm not going to talk about the prancing through the daffodils kind of love either. I told you that we are combining grounded optimism with practical spirituality, and I mean that. And this means in part that we try to explore as best we can even large topics like love, and then take appropriate action based on our current understanding. Is this a perfect art or science? No. Is this a work in progress? Yes. So we begin with the love of God. And we can't talk about love without first addressing God's love because God self-defines as love. I want to talk especially to those of you who might struggle a bit with your gut image of God or God's love, as well as those of you who might struggle with believing you are worthy of love. I know there are many people who have been wounded or traumatized by family, friends, and even within the church. And there might be ways in which this entire conversation is a struggle. I want you to know that I hear you, I see you, and I am so sorry for the wounds you bear. Now, my early image of God was an old, white, bearded man in the sky who I was trying to please by doing all the right things. A distant entity version of God that barks orders from the sky and one whom I'm trying to draw close to me for love. Now, this is a narrow and stark description and one that's hard to shake. Even after all these years, that former version likes to stalk me periodically. Now, this is not the image of God that I want to focus on. I return to my 3 assumptions from the podcast trailer. God is real, God is love, and God is not elsewhere. I enter into this conversation with as much humility as I can muster. I have to admit that I don't know everything there is to know about God. And this actually brings me great comfort because it means all of the shallow ways I've tried to understand and embrace God can become deeper, more enriched, and all-encompassing. I allow myself to engage all the fullness of what this kind of love means, with no hint of the shallow, syrupy, head-in-the-sand version. I want love in all its bold, sacrificial goodness. One of my favorite phrases is this, from the book of Acts. It says, "In him we live and move and have our being." There is a relational oneness here that already exists. We are not trying to coerce a distant God to do anything. God is as close as the air on your cheek. This means that we are swimming around in an ocean of love. We're like a fish who couldn't tell you what water is. All we know is this: love sustains our existence. And when we want to reaffirm what love really looks like, we need look no further than Jesus and his model of love. Jesus makes all of this real. Jesus gives us a vision for what's possible as a human being, always stopping for the wounded, the hurting, the outcast, continually teaching about diving below the surface of things into the heart. He modeled the process of dying, waiting, and rising so that we would know we're not alone. This is the foundational, grand love I'm talking about. And every week, no matter the topic, a crucial part of our work is to remain open to this love, one small step at a time. You are always and deeply loved without question and without reservation. Now, this is the kind of love that can change you from the inside out. Here's your I can do that for this week. If you haven't already memorized this phrase, in God we live and move and have our being, this week read it or say it aloud to yourself at least once a day. And while you say it, take a deep breath and envision the air as love itself. Take note of how this influences your confidence and value. Remember, you're making your way forward one small, simple, and gracious step at a time. If you love what you just heard, please follow, rate, and review this podcast. This helps more people find us, and I really appreciate your help. You can also text this episode to a friend so they can join you on this journey. Together, let's move at the pace of grace and grow at the pace of transformation. If you'd like to connect with me and Unhurried Living further, I invite you to sign up for Unhurried Daily. For 40 days, we'll send you a brief daily email that will serve as a touch point for an unhurried inner pace. It's just a few sentences with a practical question, prayer, or tip. So sign up now on our website at unhurriedliving.com.